Hello and welcome to the Metapod Podcast, the Pokemon TCG podcast that revolves around the evolving meta, the entire alphabet from A to Z or Z to A. Sean,
Yeah,
Pokemon ZA Legends, the video games released this past weekend. Have you played it at all? Oh,
I
you've been
have.
playing it.
Yeah. I mean, like,
Oh,
I'm like the one. I don't play the Pokemon games. I downloaded it. I played it. I'm not like I'm far enough in that I have like a few megas now. Like I have Mega
mhm.
Charizard, Gardevoir for
Don't say any
Alligator
ones that weren't. Okay,
announced.
never mind. I
Yeah,
was gonna say
Charizard, Gardevoir
I've
for
barely
Alligator.
played any of
I
it.
will say if you do have the game, I'm sure you've seen a million posts about this already, but if you bought the game, you have a mystery gift, you just go there and you can claim Gardevoir with a Gardevoirite. Just
Oh,
so
I
you
need
know.
to do that.
Yeah, go
Shoot.
do that. I don't
Uh,
know how long it's going to be there, but definitely do it if you bought the
I
game.
I do know that it's a limited time.
Yeah.
I do remember seeing that. I started playing it last night, and I'm only like an hour into it. Like I'm still like tutorial stuff. Very
I mean,
fun,
the
but
tutorial is so long. It's so
yeah,
long.
that's what I've been told. But I forgot to do that last night. So
Also,
very very
ranked
fun.
mode. You want to play ranked mode because that's the way that you're going to get Greninjite to
Oh my
get Mega
gosh, yeah,
Greninja.
I remember seeing that, and I've got beef with that because I don't want to do ranked battles. Especially like 100. Like, you have to do like 100, don't you?
I don't know. Somebody said that they only did like 30 minutes of it and they got enough to earn the Greninjite.
Oh,
I don't know.
well,
I don't know. You have to get to like rank K, but like you never lose points. So the
oh,
worst case scenario, you get 0 and you've wasted 4 minutes of your time. More
mhm,
likely case scenario is you'll end up with like, you know, some amount of points and then you can
yeah.
rank up pretty quickly from there. So yeah, you will have to grind, but what it sounds like is it's not so bad because you're not
Oh,
having to get to
okay.
like rank A. You just got to get to K, I think, and then you're, I think, good. Yeah.
Oh, well, whatever it is, hopefully everybody alongside us is having a good time with those games. Also, by the time that this podcast comes out, the NBA season will have started. We're pivoting to sports. I promise this is a Pokemon TCG podcast, but
No, the
I
podcast hard pivoting to basketball.
hard pivoting to basketball now. I mentioned a couple weeks ago, gave a feeler out if anybody wanted to join a Metapod exclusive NBA fantasy league over on ESPN, and I got a couple people that were like, "Yeah, sure." So I do have a league that is set up. If you would like to join, I know it's starting after the season technically, but I was so busy. I was at a regional this past weekend and been traveling a lot, so it's just slipped my mind. But if you want to join, link is in the description below to join. If the league is full, because I think we have like 5 spots left in the league after announcing it on Discord yesterday. If it ends up being full, just shoot me a DM on like Twitter, Facebook, or something of the sort. Leave a YouTube comment or a Spotify comment or something like that, and I'll open up more spots in the league. I just have 10 people. I feel like that's probably fine. I don't think we're needing like 100. But if you want to join, it's free to join. And sometime between now and the end of the season, I'll figure out a prize for the winner.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah. But anyways, there was like literally no news this week for Pokemon,
Yeah.
except for the game releasing the video game. So today we are going to go over the set review for Phantasmal Flames. Phantasmal Flames releasing on November 14th. So next week will be the pre-releases or the start of pre-releases for that set. But we do know the pre-release promos of that. So we are going to go over those real quick first before we get into the main set, as
Yeah.
usual.
Jake, one of these, I'll say right now, I had to look at these. One of these is going to give people flashbacks to the Journey Together set. I'll start with that one.
The
Uh,
Journey Together set. I'm
Pre-release.
trying to think of the pre-release. I don't remember
Hops
what the
Cramorant.
pre-release promo was. Oh, yeah, that's right. Anyways,
So
what
there
is
is
it? What's going
one of
on?
the promos is Zacian. It's 130 HP basic psychic type, and it only has one attack. It's called Limit Break, and everyone is going to be reaching their limit when they see this across the table from them. If your opponent has 3 or fewer prize cards remaining, this attack does 90 more damage, and it does 50 to base. So for 2 energy, and only one of them needs to be psychic. The other one can be any type. For 2 energy, you can do 140, which If you remember, Cramorant was, I think, technically a little better. It was a one energy thing. It was colorless, and you could get that attack off, I think, immediately because if you, it was like if your opponent has four prize cards or less.
Mhm.
So this is not quite as good, but 140 damage for two energy, and all your opponent has to do is take one prize card. Feels pretty strong. Uh,
It's pretty okay, I will say, especially as a basic Pokemon. Because remember, you start a pre-release match, if you do not know, with 4 prizes. So as Sean was saying, you take 1 prize, that'll get that extra damage off.
yeah, so that's one of the promos. So it'll be interesting to see what that kit looks like.
Mhm.
Um, I'll do one more, and then you can cover the other two. The next one is Cerulege, which it's an interesting card. I think it'll probably be pretty fun actually in pre-release, although you might struggle to refill your hand. 140 HP, stage one, fire type. For one fire energy, you do 220 damage, which is bonkers.
That's a big
Um,
number.
but there's a stipulation. You have to discard four basic fire energies from your hand. If you can't discard four cards this way, the attack does nothing.
I really wonder if this will have like a energy retrieval or
Mm,
something inside the pre-release kits. Because I like this. I think it's cool. But 4 basic fire energy cards is pretty big. It's not like reveal 4, it is trash 4. So the next time
yeah.
that you want to attack with it, you're gonna need 4 more somehow, some way. And we don't have energy crystal, giant hearth, stuff like that in the format. So it'll
Eh,
be curious to see how they build it.
Yeah, and I will say pre-release is not known for being a draw heavy
Mm.
format. So you might be like, I got rid of all four, and then you can maybe do it one more time with a superior, and then you're out of cards. And you're like, oh
Yeah,
no.
especially because with superior energy retrieval, you gotta trash
Discard
2 cards from your hand. So it's
right.
almost like you're trashing 6 cards from 7
Seven.
with playing the superior energy retrieval. So
Yeah.
it's might not be the best kit, but it is gonna pack the biggest punch. I
Yeah.
will say I'll go in with Toxtricity. Toxtricity, 140 HP, stage 1 dark Pokemon, got 2 retreat. It's got an attack for 2 dark and a colorless called Gentle Slap, and it does 100 damage. Kinda criminal that this 3 energy attack does 100 damage when you have 2 other all ooh, actually, all 3 of the other Pokemon can do more damage for less energy. Uh, Pretty bad, I'll say. But it has the ability Sinister Surge. Once during your turn, you may use this ability, search your deck for a basic dark energy card and attach it to one of your benched dark Pokemon. Then shuffle your deck. If you attach energy to a Pokemon this way, place 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So that's why it needs more.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, the ability is going to, I think, be the main thing because you have to put it on a benched Pokemon,
Yes.
which, you could put it on itself, but I think it's going to be a big. I bet you that this kit comes with one air balloon because it is two
Mhm.
retreat. And so the idea there is that you want to maybe put the air balloon on this guy between turns, get an energy out. So we'll see what the dark attackers look like when we go through the set review that you maybe can pull. There is one that we know, which is Mega. Um, uh, what is Gengar? Mega Gengar.
Yes.
But like I think it's going to be a harder thing that you pull that and get the toxicity in the same kit. So we'll see what other dark options you might be given, but very
And
consistent.
my favorite pre-release promo of the bunch is Flygon because guess what, baby? I'm gonna play Mill in my pre-release. Flygon is a stage 2, 150 HP fighting type Pokemon with the ability Sandy Flapping. Once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may use this ability. You may also use this ability if this Pokemon is in the active spot and is knocked out by damage from an attack on your opponent's Pokemon. Discard the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. So, basically, what this is, because that was a lot of words, Sean. When you evolve a Vibrava into a Flygon, you can mill 2 cards from the top of your opponent's deck. If this Flygon's in the active and it's knocked out by an attack, you can use mill 2 cards off the top of your opponent's deck in that instance as well. So For every Flygon, you can mill like 4 cards from your opponent's deck, possibly. And for 2 fighting energy, it has 130 damage attack. So honestly, kind of respectable. So if this kit has like TM Evolution or rare candy in there, oh man, I'm gonna be milling my opponent's deck because you know what? You always have a fear of decking out in this format.
It's true. There's only 40 cards in your deck, so I
Mhm.
will be really interested to see if they give people a full, even like a 3-3-2 or a. They don't usually give people like more than two of the final stage evolution.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be 2.
So you'll definitely be hoping to pull more of these
Mhm.
in your kit if you get this. So fingers crossed for you. But that would be a fun strategy. I've never seen Mill at pre-release, so that would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible, it's toxic, but the funny thing is too is that, well, your opponent can just choose, like, not to do anything, but the Flygon is hitting 130 HP, like, it's a respectable punch as well, so, like, you have to get your game plan going, so how much do you actually want to, go through is gonna be the real question. Gonna be so funny hearing stories about this.
Jake, is Cursed Shovel, is that still in format?
No, that rotated a long time ago, I'm
Oh,
pretty sure.
geez, I'm old. Well, I feel like, is there not a tool that mills when the Pokemon gets knocked out, or is that the one that I'm thinking of and it is gone?
I mean, that is the one that you're thinking of. There are different ones like, there's the handheld fan that moves in energy after getting hit by an attack. Um,
I'm just trying to make this a thing in standard because I'm
well,
like, we
see,
all
here's the
like
thing
mill.
because in standard, I was gonna say in the pre-release format, they will never allow that
No.
to exist. But yeah, that's all I got for that. But the pre-release promos are kind of cool. I'm very interested to see what the kits are like.
Well, moving into the set review proper, Jake.
Mhm.
The set, which I think we mentioned on an earlier pod at some point, but very small set, only 94 cards, which feels like a mini set.
Mhm.
Um, Kind of crazy, honestly, that it's only a 94 card set. I remember back in the, I mean, probably not even that long ago, we had sets that were 230 some odd, 240 cards. So
Well, it's 94 base
new.
rarity, right?
Yeah,
Like, it's
that's true.
base rarity cards. There are obviously more, like, alternate arts, secret rares, stuff like that, but, uh, point in case, it is a small set. It is a very small set.
Jake, we are starting as we always do in the grass Pokemon.
Mhm,
And I it's probably not good, but I'm gonna quickly mention Gloom and then I'll look at Vileplume and see if it's any good. But the reason I wanted to mention Gloom is I always have been a fan of spread decks where you spread a bunch of damage across the field. And this Gloom is really interesting. It's a stage one, and for one grass energy, you do 20 damage, and then you do 20 to each benched Pokemon. This includes your own Pokemon, so importantly, it also includes your Monkey Dories, which you could definitely play with a deck like this,
oh, yeah.
theoretically. So I have no idea if this will be viable. Shaman exists, so but if we're moving into a heavy EX format, Shaman does not protect bench damage on EXs.
Shaman also really hasn't been played.
I mean, it's in some decks. It is, but like I don't know what people, if they saw you flip over an Oddish, early in the format, they may not know to throw down their Shaman too quickly. So I feel like though that this could be a deck one day. Uh, I wonder what you could pair this with. Definitely TM Devo.
Mhm.
This deck absolutely gets cooked by a big basics deck like Mega Kangaskhan, Mega Absol. So
Yeah, ones that just have so much HP, it is a hard tower to surpass.
yeah, but I wanted to mention the Gloom, and I'll quickly go over the Vileplume just in case it has a thing that is worth evolving into. I'm not sure. 150 HP, do 30 damage, and it's poisoned in a sleep, which, eh, I mean, asleep is an interesting status condition that we don't. It's not usually something we see. And then also you have the option of doing 60 plus, and if this Pokemon was healed during this turn, this attack does 120 more, so 180. So I guess the idea with the Gloom is that since you're damaging your bench, you would damage another Gloom in the back,
Mhm.
and then you evolve this, and you do 180. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if the Vile Plume is necessarily worth it, but I just wanted to point that out.
Well, I think it's kinda cool, right? Because it's not an interaction that we've really seen, like, on Pokemon cards as
Mm,
of or that I can really remember, right? It specifically says healed as well, so I don't think stuff like Monkey Dory works on this because I don't think Monkey Dory is technically not healing a Pokemon, it is just moving damage counters. This would probably ideally be something like a picnic basket deck to where you just heal small samples of damage, right? Because of drooling on the gloom to do extra. I think it could be cool. I wonder if you would have to pair this as like a Frostlass deck, though,
mm.
like a Frostlass gloom kind of thing to just stack up more and more damage. But your bench space is probably like it's way too tight, right? Because Frostlash, you gotta include some Monkey Dories, you got a Vile Plume, right? It
And the
might just be a
Gloom,
little bit too much.
the Gloom is doing 20 to your bench too. So the Frostlass damage is building up on your monkeys, and you're
Yeah.
doing damage to your monkeys. So like the opponent's Monkey Dory is going to have a much easier time knocking yours out, and it's it's a little awkward. I always like him, and I also will say this idea of a Pokemon doing damage to the bench. We've seen it before, particularly in fighting type decks. I don't know if I remember this type of attack being in a grass deck. And I think that's
Mhm.
also what I wanted to like mention is like that's weird and that's interesting. So
Yeah. I'll talk about Mega Heracross EX. This 3 prize basic Mega 280 HP grass type Pokemon. I'll never stop being mad about the megas this time around. It's got two attacks on this two retreat guy. The first one is Panzerhorn for 100 plus damage, two grass energies. If this Pokemon was damaged by an attack during your opponent's last turn, this attack does that much more damage. So this is another really interesting one that we don't see a lot of times. I mean, usually it's just like a static, I guess, amount, it's like plus 100 damage or plus 120 or something like that. But this is all dependent on what your opponent does in the last turn. So it could be 20 damage, right? They could just do a little chip attack at you to not really take a ton of damage, but set up a knockout in the previous turn. Or they could try to blast you for a big number. And so then you go in with Panzerhorn and just absolutely obliterate them with that. And if they did only a little bit of damage to you, you can use the third or the second attack for 3 grass energies, Mountain Thrust, 170 damage, discard 2 cards from the top of your opponent's deck.
that's pretty decent. Two cards.
Yeah.
Three grass energy is a little awkward. Like you'd have to be running some other thing, I think, to get that third on, but
Steel Mask Ogrepon, baby.
it's true.
Energy switch.
We do have the Teal Mask Ogrepon, so you can run a full basics deck with this with E-Switch for the next few months.
Meganium. You can
Meganium,
Meganium,
yeah.
double energy in a sense. You still need 2 because it costs 3, but 1 energy for Panzerhorn could be nice on a basic Pokemon.
I will say what's interesting about Panzerhorn is there have been cards in the past that do something called counter. Do you remember those decks?
Mhm.
So it's like
Yeah.
usually a one color and then a colorless. And I think in the most recent iterations, it was 30 plus for each damage counter on the Pokemon. Whereas it specifically has to reference your opponent's last turn's attack. So like, but the 100 plus is really something. And imagine throwing like again, if you're thinking about the Mega Kangaskhan type deck of the world, you throw this out there, you throw a Bravery Charm, you play Lively Stadium, that's plus 80, you're at 360 HP. Um, and it says if this Pokemon was damaged, ooh, interesting, by an attack during your opponent's last turn. I wonder, Jake, would this work with the healing card? There's that healing from a Mega that was introduced in our current set, Mega Evolution. Is
Are you
it
talking
Her?
about Wally?
Yeah, Wally. It heals all damage, but you put all the energy back into your hand, right?
It's either discarded or back into your hand.
I remember you put it back into your hand because we were like, "Oh, with Venusaur, this is great, right?"
Mhm.
If you're playing the Teal Mask Gograpon, it only cares about how much damage it took, not how much damage it currently has.
Correct.
So you can take a big hit, heal all the damage off, Teal Mask Gograpon, attach return, energy switch one onto it, completely healed Mega Heracross with the Bravery Charm still intact. Do it again. So
Yeah.
like that, this I think I saw briefly like a PTCG radio video that said Mega Heracross is winning in Japan. I haven't looked at lists, but I can see why that would be very good theoretically.
You can even, like, use your A-Spec as, like, Hero's Cape,
Yeah,
right? Just get
100%.
even more HP on it.
Yeah, you would max out
Who
then at
needs
what, 410?
Yeah, on a basic mega Pokemon.
Woo!
That is worth 3 prizes, though, so it
Yeah,
is
if you're
not ha or it's not easy.
I think the biggest thing standing in this deck's way was going to be the Cerulege and Charizard, the new Charizard. So
Yeah, Ceruledge probably bops the deck no matter how much HP you have, but
body this deck.
looking into the Lotad line, this Ludicolo stage 260 HP grass Pokemon has an ability called Excited Healing. Once during your turn, if you have a grass Mega Pokemon EX in play, you may heal 60 damage from one of your Pokemon. So, the key words about this one, you have to have the grass Mega Pokemon EX, but the healing that you do doesn't have to be that mega.
Yeah.
So it can be anywhere on the board if you're facing like a Dragapult that's like doing spread damage and they're trying to knock out your little Lotads or something, you can heal that Lotad, stuff like that, which I think is kind of neat.
And you can stack them if for whatever reason you feel like
Yes.
you need multiple of these.
Yeah.
And then, with the stadium, the new Forest of Vitality, could be interesting. It could be an interesting card if you wanted to run a new version of the Mega Kangaskhan. You could just
Mhm.
throw the Heracross in the deck. There's your Mega. But you can heal the Kangaskhan instead or whatever. So it'd be interesting to see if this sees play.
I also think the Genesect is kind of interesting, right? If you think about like Raging Bolt with the baby bolt, I'm going to be basically referencing and comparing that to this Genesect. 120 HP Genesect has a one energy attack, a grass energy specifically, called Bug Cannon. Choose one of your opponent's Pokemon. This attack does 20 damage to it for each grass energy attached to this Pokemon, which, if you had something like Meganium, right, that would be double. So every energy that you have is kind of like 40 damage onto a Pokemon. So I think it could be kind of interesting if we see like a meta grass deck use Meganium. Definitely utilize this as like a one energy or a one prize attacker that chases after like bench setup Pokemon and whatnot.
Yeah, that's definitely the right call. This is kind of your Scream Tail in a Meganium
Yeah.
deck. So
Yeah, it's pretty much a scream tail because again, we got Teal Mask Ogrepon, we got energy switches. You can get a lot of energy on this guy.
we're kind of talking about almost all of these grass Pokemon because they're all pretty interesting. The last one I want to mention is this Low Kicks, Jake.
Hmm.
For 3 colorless energy, it's a stage 1, so it's a little annoying, but for 3 colorless, you do 150 damage, and then you shuffle the Pokemon and all cards attached into your deck. Um, I love a good hit and run deck. I personally, I think it would have been, I think, more interesting to see this on a hit and run when the hitter is a multi prize Pokemon, because it does feel kind of bad. Like I'm gonna hit and run, but it's a single prize, and you're like, what am I running into? A Mimikyu, maybe?
Yeah, like there's no Poké Dolls or
Right.
anything like that that you can just go into. I will say this does work very well with the ignition energy,
Yeah.
and you can also use the what is it called? Tree of Vitality.
Oh yeah.
The new tree stadium that you can chain these evolutions basically.
Oh, Jake, can you imagine a wall deck? Mimikyu, Cornerstone Mask, Ogre Pawn, Iron Thorns, like just kind of like an awkward, annoying wall deck where
it has to be a 2 retreat cost wall
yes.
because you need to be able to retreat every single turn back
Yeah.
into the nimble low kicks, whatever, to then use the attack.
But like is Cornerstone Mask 3 retreat or is it 2?
I feel like it's 2, but I
Yeah.
actually don't know off the top of my head.
But something like that would be really interesting because to your point, if you can keep Forest of
It is
Vitality.
1.
Okay, so I mean, air balloon all day, right? If you can
Yeah.
keep Forest of Vitality up, some combination of Mimikyu, Cornerstone Mask, Ogre Pawn, and maybe there's other stuff out there, would be a pretty interesting approach for this deck. Where that's all you're leaving up. Maybe in certain matchups you throw a Clef Key up there just to be annoying, or a Flutter Mane. Um, but
Just kidding. Force of Vitality does not cheat on the first turn.
not the first turn, but on the turn a Pokemon is
Except
played
during their first turn, as in
of the
yes,
game.
that's right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of the game. Never mind, we're so back.
Yo, so you could totally like play the bug catching set in this deck.
Yeah,
I mean Hilda goes hard in this deck. Grab your ignition energy, grab your low kicks. You're good to go
yeah.
every turn.
If
This
only
is
we had
kind of
Versus
crazy.
Seeker. It's definitely a funny deck. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I think it's a great deck, because I feel like we would know about it if it was a great deck, but I mean, the wall stuff is definitely relevant. Just I mean, we've seen it time and time again, and would it be easier to probably just wall Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon? Probably. And drop the low kicks, but I love a good jump shot, talking about the NBA season starting out. Jump shot's a great attack name.
Jake, let's go into fire because this is the heavy hitter of the whole set. I think in terms of
The poster
yeah,
child.
the poster child, the hype. I want to give a little mention here to particularly this Charmander. We are getting a new Charmander. It is 80 HP, which sounds great, but remember we cannot search that with Buddy Buddy Poffin. So swings and roundabouts, but it does have a really good ability, which is nimble. If this Pokemon has no energy attached, its retreat cost is 0. So it might be worth it to run these Charmanders instead of the 70 HP ones, simply because it's a free retreater. Um,
Well, I mean, if your ace spec happens to be the one that puts everything on the bench,
Precious Trolley,
the
yeah,
precious trolley, right? Like precious trolley doesn't care about the HP if you feel like you can move over to that. And that's pretty sweet if you're running, like, whether that's the dark terrestrialized Charizard, right? Adding this guy in there, or if you're running the big mega.
yeah. But Jake, give us a rundown on the poster child.
The poster child of the said Stage 2 Mega Charizard XEX. I will say we don't know about the Y. There's gonna be a Mega Charizard YEX. I'm sure of it.
Jake, I want to call it
Uh,
right now. I also think within the next 2 years there will be a Mega Charizard Z.
I
I'm
feel
just
like
gonna
we would have
say it.
already known by now if there was a Mega Charizard Z.
There is a DLC coming in February of next year. That not everything has been announced.
All right.
That's
Well,
all I'll say. I mean,
w
it would make
the
sense. You have
historians
X and Y, and it's called
yeah.
Pokemon Legends ZA. Z maybe.
And they've made a lot of new megas, so why don't they reformat a mega
Yeah.
essentially? But anyways, Mega Charizard X EX, 360 HP stage 2 fire type Pokemon with a 2 retreat cost. Has a 2 energy attack Inferno X 90 times. Discard any amount of fire energy from among your Pokemon, and this attack does 90 damage for each card you discarded in this way. This is really nice, right? Especially for Charizard decks, because this is uncapped damage potential. You can do as much damage as you want, which is so nice a lot of times. We've seen the uncapped damage in Goldango and Cerulege, right? So now Charizard has that way, whether you're, a Mega Charizard deck or a regular Charizard deck.
Yep. And keep in mind we
Also,
have
90 times is a really good number.
oh, it's
Can we talk about
crazy
that?
good. I mean, 4 of
Hitting
those.
360 is huge.
Oh yeah. And look, 4 of those is 360, 3 of those plus a vitality band, and that's 280, which is knocking out most stage 1 EXs.
And you could even use maximum belt, right? Like a lot
Yeah.
of Charizards right now are using maximum belt, especially if you're facing another EX. Boom. That's another modifier.
And we have the regular Charizard EX, the dark type Terra. So you
Mhm.
have optionality in the Charizard you can play, in how you get energy on board. And I did want to just immediately jump. I think we talked about this a while back at Worlds, after Worlds, but Oricorio EX is going to be an important piece of the puzzle if you're planning on playing Mega Charizard X. Its ability, Excited Turbo, as often as you like during your turn. If you have any Fire Mega Evolution Pokemon EX in play, you may use this ability. Attach a basic Fire from your card from your hand to one of your benched Fire Pokemon. So that's how you're getting a bunch of that energy on board. Is this Oricorio EX? So
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing Mega Charizard X, you gotta think about this Oricorio. I don't know. See, the thing is with me, I don't know if like Charizard decks, dark terrestrialized Charizard decks would play a Mega Charizard EX in there because if you did as like a tech option, you definitely wouldn't play Oricorio then, I feel like. I feel like there's just not enough room essentially.
I think you might think about it the opposite way of, I'm playing a Mega Charizard X deck, and then I will tech a
Yeah,
1 or 2 copy of Charizard EX,
definitely
partially
on
because
that
of the
side.
prize math. I will say it's important to remember the Oricorio lets it attach to benched fire Pokemon. So
Mhm.
once you've evolved your Charizard EX into the dark type, you can't attach fire energy to it with so just know, if you're planning on running that little combo, you gotta get your energy onto it a different way. But yeah.
There are restrictions, but I just don't know if that's like worth a lot of times. It just seems like a lot. But it is good to note that, once again, megas just evolve from their stage ones or whatever. They don't have to have the Pokemon on it and then mega evolve. Charizard, Mega Charizard evolves from Charmeleon, just like the terrestrialized Charizard.
Jake, there's 2 cards here because I've always thought to myself too, with this Mega Charizard, like, what else am I attacking with? We
Hmm.
have Charizard. There's actually 2 cards right next to it that I think are interesting. One is this Moltres. Basic Pokemon, 120 HP, 1 fire energy. You do 20 plus. If your opponent's active Pokemon is an EX, it does 90 more damage. I like this for a number of reasons. I think it is, if you are playing a version of the deck that's very rare candy heavy and you don't want to go TM Evo for whatever reason, um, I think this is another option, because the 20 will knock out a Badoo because it's weak to fire. And then if you're staring down an EX, all of a sudden you're putting 110 damage onto it, which is not enough to necessarily knock it out, but it might be enough to set it up for an easy knockout later. So,
Hmm.
it's an interesting thought. I don't know if it will get placed in the deck, but I just wanted to call it out. And then the other one,
I think Chiyu's better.
you mean, she used 2 energy though, right?
Yes, but you have Oricorio.
True. I was saying, like, instead of TM Evo, like
Mm,
if you wanted an attacker going
okay.
second, I think this one
Yeah.
is a thought. Only 110 damage is definitely like, is it
It just
worth it?
the
But
thing is like Chio, like the reason that you use those one prize attackers is to like take knockouts, and
yeah,
Moltres doesn't knock out like a Goldengo.
I did want to mention there's this Darumaka and Darmanitan line. Maybe the Darmanitan is better, but I kind of like the Darumaka as a very cheeky card, because 80 HP basic. For 3 energy, you have Blazing Ball 10 plus. It does 20 more damage for each fire energy attached to it. You could, in theory, load this bad boy up with fire energies if you have the Mega Charizard out and do a not insignificant amount of damage. You could also just use it as a way to get through a Mimikyu, or a way to get through another single prize that's sitting in front of you, so you don't have to put your Mega Charizard in harm's way. I don't know if you actually need or want the evolution here, but it was a thought.
I will say to do the attack, if you used all fire energies, that would be 70 damage with the Darumaka at minimum doing the attack. And Blazing Ball would be 200 damage on the Darmanitan because Darmanitan costs 4 energies and does 40 plus. So
Yeah.
just a thought.
Jake, what is next on your list, though?
I do want to give a quick shout out to the Char Cadet in this set, just simply because one, Tomokazu Komiya illustrated it, beautiful card, very cute, love it. Has an attack called Gather Power for 1 fire energy. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards, reveal them, put them in your hand, and then shuffle your deck. I don't know what the different Charcadets are in like the Cerulege deck and which one is the best, but it kind of sounds like, in my opinion, that just getting energies and thinning the deck is probably not that bad. Sure, you can get Ionoed or whatever. There's a Charcadet that only searches for a single basic fire energy card. It attaches it to the Pokemon, so it doesn't go in your hand. But this finds 2 basic energy cards. So I don't know. Maybe this little 70 HP guy that can be found off of Buddy Buddy Poffin might be the best Charcadet for your Cerulege deck.
Yeah, I think it's a good shout because Cerulege wants energy in hand when you evolve the next turn.
Yeah. I mean, to be able to just gather and pitch,
Yeah.
right? I don't know. It's a way to thin your deck as well.
Moving into the water Pokemon, I'm giving the look, Jake. Do you see anything interesting here? Because I'm not.
There's not necessarily a ton of cool things, I feel like, especially because we have a Prinplup, but not an Empoleon in the water section, which may come later. But the Piplup in here, I don't know if this is a GLC-esque kind of card, but the Piplup has a 1 colorless energy attack call for support. You search your deck for a supporter card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your deck. Unfortunately, it doesn't play the supporter card as that effect, but could be something there.
Do people play Empoleon in GLC?
No,
Okay.
not at least in water. I can't recall an Empoleon, but
Mm,
I mean, sometimes you play setup Pokemon. Like in
yeah,
my
true.
water deck, I play an Alolan Vulpix,
Because it's a
even though I don't
zero energy,
play.
right?
Yeah, it's a 0 energy attack that finds other Pokemon. So sometimes you just have these like 1 energy does little thing attack just because it's consistency.
Yeah, that's true. Moving into the electric, it's interesting. Very weak set for water there. I will say, but I guess it makes sense. They want people to play the Charizard, and if you give too
Yeah,
much
the
support
fire
to
deck.
if you give too much support to water, it's like, don't worry, guys. Blastoise is coming eventually. Don't worry. Just chill. Enjoy your enjoy your Charizards. Anyways, this Rotom EX I'll mention because I love me the Rotom deck, except I don't have the right energy card for it. I need them to reprint double colorless, but Rotom EX, 190 HP, basic electric Pokemon or lightning type, has an ability multi adapter. Your Pokemon with Rotom in their name may have up to 2 Pokemon tool cards attached to them. Um, and it does have an attack that's Thunderbolt for 130, but I don't think that's why you play this. I think this is a card that is designed to go into a Rotom box. And if you don't remember, Rotom box decks for 2 colorless energy, I think it does 30 times each tool attached to all of your Pokemon. So when the Revavroom rotates, this will be your last bastion of hope if the energy situation gets better. So yeah.
I just feel like we've gotten a ton of Rotoms lately. I just feel like every set's got a Rotom in it, but Rotom V-Star is rotated out.
hmm
So I
I,
don't know.
but
But
here's my thought, Jake. Why would you print this card unless you plan on, unless you really want people to play the Rotom box deck? Because there's nothing that this goes with other
yeah,
than
like
the
your
other.
Pokemon has to be Rotom.
Right. So I'm like, the benefit of Rotom deck, I'm just gonna say it, you have all these different typings, so you can have a box, you can do some typing coverage. But having the 2 energy costs, yes, you can play a counter gain on that bad boy, but, like, that feels so bad. I'm just
Counter gain,
I mean, it's fine, but, like,
one energy.
but what if, Jake, they take 1 prize, and then I take 3 prizes, and then what do I do? And then what do I do?
You just
I'm
hope
cooked.
they don't knock you out so then you can attach
Right.
another energy.
Right. So, like, EXP share, I don't know, maybe that's the way to go, but it just feels awkward. I just want double colorless. Give me double colorless. Jake,
Definitely love seeing a funny deck like Rotom.
rant over. What's next on your list?
I'll go straight to Psychic in Mismagius EX. This is an EX Pokemon 2 prizes, a stage 1 Psychic 260 HP, evolving from Mischievous. Has the ability Swirling Spell. If this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, when your opponent switches in a new Pokemon, it is now confused. Very interesting attack. You know, there's not a lot of interactions, I feel like, in the Pokemon trading card game that interact with your opponent on their turn. And so this ability having that kind of like pseudo, I mean, it's a very small interaction, but it is still one. Is just really cool to see, in my opinion. And has a 2 psychic energy attack called 6 Magic for 150 damage. You may draw cards until you have 6 in your hand. We've seen an attack like that on the Garchomp, right? Cynthia's Garchomp draws cards until X amount in hand off of the attack. So, cool card. Don't think it's that good, but cool card.
I mean, look, confusion is a really annoying effect,
Yeah,
and but it's like, is it annoying enough for me to boss around this Mismagius? Like, I don't know. So, like, I think you could maybe steal like random games here and there if your opponent is unlucky. If your opponent just rips aheads every time, then this deck is trash. But
it's
like,
unfortunate.
if you want a coin flip deck, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, coin. We love a good coin flip deck. Didn't isn't that what all the people playing the Mega Absol box? That's what they said. Like I'm playing, like heading into the
Uh,
last regional, they were like, "I'm playing a coin flip deck because Mega Kangaskhan flips a coin." You
True.
know, with
Yeah,
the
it is a
attack.
coin flip deck. I think the
Yeah,
deck is good even if you hit tails a significant amount of the time. Whereas if your opponent
yeah.
just hits heads on their confusion, then it's like your ability does nothing.
It's whatever. They still got it though.
It's true. I'll briefly mention this Whimsicott. I don't think it's very good in the current format, but it has an attack for 1 colorless, Healing Cotton. Heal all damage from one of your benched Pokemon. Um, I only want to mention that. I don't know if this ever finds a home, but it is a very interesting attack to just straight up heal all the damage from one of your Pokemon. So thought it was cool. Just thought it was interesting.
If you
Uh,
like Rotom decks, wait till I tell you about Tauros decks. Sean, in the fighting section, Paldean Tauros, here, 130 HP fighting type basic Pokemon, has a 1 fighting energy attack called Raging Charge. Does 40 damage for each of your Pokemon with Tauros in their name. In play, that has any damage counters on them. So not only do you have to run a bajillion Tauros, but they also have to have a damage counter on them. So you're probably playing like a Rockets bomb deck potentially, but
mm,
we have gotten a lot of Tauros as of late, Paldean Tauros, because there's a couple typings with the Tauros. There's a fire type Tauros, there's a water type Tauros. So you can play like 12 Tauros
well,
in your deck.
are they all called Paldean Tauros?
They are all called Paldean Tauros, but they're all unique cards. You
But
can play them if
you can only play 4 Paldean
oh,
Tauros.
really?
This is
Never
not One
mind.
Piece, unfortunately.
Dang, this deck
Yeah.
sucks.
Well, maybe there are other Tauros that exist that aren't Paldean Tauros, but like I agree with you. Like it's cool that Paldean Tauros has multiple typings, kind of like Rotom Box. But
Mhm.
the Pokemon rule of 4 of the same name exactly is just like, oh, what
So you
you've
can
killed
run
it.
8 of them because
Okay.
there were Tauros in, Destined Rivals, there was Tauros in Scarlet Violet,
Okay.
151 base set.
So
There's a couple of them out there.
you can get 8, which is good.
Yeah, and one of the Tauros has a Gather the Crew. 1
Oh.
energy, search your deck for a basic Pokemon, put it on your bench. That's how you gather the Tauros, baby.
They'll never see it coming, Jake.
They'll never see it coming. I've never been so disappointed
Uh,
in a set.
when you, like, see a card and you're like, "This is gonna be so good," and you're like, "Wait, the
This is so
rules."
cool.
No.
No,
Oh, man.
unfortunate.
Um, looking through, I really do like this Flygon. I will say I wish the Vibrava also had an ability to discard 1 from the
Yeah, I
top.
agree. I mean, we just had the Alakazam that's like the Kadabra draws cards, the Alakazam draws cards. I don't know why Flygon couldn't do this. They're too afraid of like mill strategies.
Yeah, I think you're actually nail on the head, Jake. I think that you're right. Um, so someone out there will try to make this work, but there's probably, I think Wug Trio is probably a better
Yo,
mill deck still.
Wug Trio Flygon deck,
I mean, maybe. Hey, get as much
combo them
mill as you
together.
can. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Going into the dark type though, this is I think the other heavy hitter of the set, which I'm looking through it right now, and we actually don't have the Mega Gengar or the Mega Diancie in this
Because
list.
they're in starter decks.
Right. But
Yeah, they're at the end of this page
oh, good,
if you
good.
want to
Okay.
go over them.
But going into the dark type, we have that's not particularly great. We have Mega Sharpedo. I'm just gonna go straight to the Mega Sharpedo. 330 HP, stage 1 Mega, so not a basic. Haha.
Mhm.
First attack, Greedy Fangs does 70. You draw 2 cards. I think if that's what you're doing with this, that's not great. Um, Second attack though for 2 Dark Energy, Hungry Jaw. You do 120 damage plus. If this Pokemon has any damage counters on it, you do 150 more. So 170, and all you got to do is have at least 1 damage on this bad boy.
Which remember,
210.
Toxtricity can put damage on it.
That's right.
So can get that extra damage off consistently. Don't know how great it is, but the Mega Sharpedo EX has free retreat. And the Toxtricity actually flows well. I think with a couple of these Pokemon in the set, right? Because the Weavile over here, 90 HP dark Pokemon, has a 2 dark energy attack, Claws of Retribution 20 plus. If this Pokemon is 50 HP or less, this attack does 170 more damage. So 190 in total. If you Toxtricity twice on this thing, boom, it's got 50 damage. You now fill the condition.
That's true.
Uh, so there's some cool synergies with Toxtricity in some of these cards in this set, I will say, even though I don't think they're that great.
Um, this Viper is also interesting.
Mhm.
It has an ability. It's a basic, so I wanted to mention that. If you have any colorless, not color, if you have any dark Mega Pokemon EX in play, this Pokemon's attacks do 120 more damage to your opponent's Pokemon. And so you're like, well, what are its attacks? Its main attack is 3 dark energy, which is really kind of a lot to ask. But again, we have Toxtricity. Does 120. So if you have a Mega in play, this Seviper, this basic Seviper, can theoretically do 240 damage, which is kind of crazy as well. So I don't know how you're getting 3 energy onto this bad boy, but definitely worth I think considering. Um is the Crocodile anything? Hmm. No. it has a revenge attack, but it's a stage 2, so it's like a lot of work to get a revenge attack out.
Mhm.
I will go down though cuz I think want to mention immediately this Mega Gengar. Um we talked about this one before, and this I think it'll be really interesting to see whether or not this shakes up the meta because it has potential. 350 HP stage 2. The ability is really the thing that matters. When one of your dark Pokemon are knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon EX. So there's 2 clauses there. Your opponent takes 1 less prize card. It does have an attack for 2 dark. Void Gale, you do 230, and you move an energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench. Uh, Just a solid attack. But the ability, I think, is the thing that people are going to focus on. Jake, how do you feel? Is this
The biggest selling point is obviously the ability, right? I mean, you can run like kind of like a single prize dark deck in a sense, but not give up any prizes for a majority of the game just simply because you have this Mega Gengar out. It doesn't stack, which is something important to note, but 300 the biggest thing that I think is cool about this card is that 350 HP on this Mega Gengar EX is actually pretty respectable. It's not like too low, but it's not too high either, especially if your opponent bosses up the Mega Gengar EX and tries to knock it out to take the ability away, right? And I think also, uh
It
if
applies to
Mega
itself.
Gengar, yeah, it applies to itself, so you can just give up 2 prizes for this Mega Knockout. So, in an attack that does 230 damage is pretty respectable, I think.
Yeah. Like, it's a respectable attack. It's not gonna be like the main thing that you I don't think
Mhm.
this is like your main attacker all game, but it is crazy to see a mega Pokemon which says it gives up 3 prizes, but then has an ability that effectively makes it give up 2. Um, and I've said it before, but I think that this ability is why I firmly believe that some form of Path to the Peak will be coming back in the next 6 months. Um,
Wouldn't surprise me.
just because, like, look, between Oricorio and this ability, like, we eventually need some way to, like, for someone, if they want to play these things, to say no, you don't get to do your thing unless you have a stadium. You don't get to do the thing. So
Yeah, kind of like a floodgate kinda
yeah.
deal.
So, but I do think this will be really cool. I think Baby Roaring Moon, for as long as that's still in standard, is a cool card to think about with this deck because it has its own built-in engine of like drawing cards and powering things up with the Professor Sada.
Mhm.
Um, and there's probably other things that you could theoretically play in a deck like that. So
Now is the time to play dark Pokemon, especially with something like Grimmsnarl. I don't know if you could fit like Grimmsnarl and Mega Gengar EX in the same deck, but to have a Grimmsnarl be only one prize, like just drop the
God.
Frostlass, like just get rid of the Frostlass. But to have a Grimmsnarl only be one prize has got to be like okay, right?
That sounds really
Especially
good.
especially when the Grimmsnarl can accelerate energies onto itself, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
that's
not gonna sit here and say that it's an incredible combo or something, but if you're a dark fanatic, that might be pretty cool.
I see my cat making eyes at my other cat. Give me half a second to distract him.
Yeah. I'm quickly going to look up on Limitless the city leagues and try to find if anybody I am not seeing any Gengars in the city leagues right now. We'll definitely look at deck lists here in the next week or two, but for now, I am not seeing anybody trying out my strategy.
I mean, look, things come and go. Like, we didn't see any Mega Kangaskhan, Mega Absol in the format that we're currently in
Mhm.
Japan, prior to like Milwaukee. So I like that. It's a lot of cards to fit into a deck to play the Grimmsnarl, but maybe it's worth it. Weirdly, and also the Grimmsnarl, can it power up the Gengar, or is it only onto Marnie's Pokemon?
I'm pretty sure it's only onto Marnie's Pokemon.
Okay,
I was just saying acceleration as in, like, it can get
that's true.
energies for itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, weirdly, it's probably not good. You could play this in Charizard because it's a dark
Yeah,
type
okay.
Pokemon.
Yeah, a dark type Pokemon if you wanted to.
But yeah, I think this will be really interesting. God, that would be so annoying to like go up against a Marnie's Grimmsnarl that's giving up 1 prize on the Grimmsnarl and 2 prizes on the Gengar, and just thinking like, just stop, just die already. So,
Yeah.
um, I'll also mention the Sableye. I don't know if it's any good, but if you have a stage 2 Pokemon and play this deck, the 70 more damage, so 90 for 1 Dark Energy is.
Stage 2 dark Pokemon
Oh yeah,
specifically.
yeah. So I mean, they're assuming you have the Gengar out. I guess it's not very good, but the art's great. Love the art
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Uh,
Osade, great illustrator.
Jumping back up though, Jake, do you want to take us through? We were wondering where Empoleon was, and here it is.
We found the Empoleon. Empoleon has an EX, a two prize, 320 metal stage 2 Pokemon. Has an ability and an attack. The ability called Counter Stance. Prevent all effects done to this Pokemon by the attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So that is whether it's on the bench, it's whether it's in the active, right? So pretty nice against something like Dragapult decks,
Mhm.
right? Can be very, very cool in a lot of situations like that. And then Iron Phaser, 2 metal, 1 colorless. I just see your cat, Sean. I'm so sorry.
He's going
Your cat
crazy,
is just like, well, he's like,
scratching
so if
along the
anybody
bottom
owns
of
a
the
cat,
couch.
it's not scratching along, but if you think at the like bottom of the couch, he's like crawling along the couch. He's like pulling himself, dragging himself across it. Cats are so funny. Anyways, this attack by Empoleon does 210 damage, and during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 60 less damage from attacks, effectively making it like a 380 HP stage 2.
And I believe we have both a stadium that says you take 30 less still in format, and an item or a tool that also gives a boost to damage negation on metal Pokemon in format. I could be wrong, but I think so.
Wouldn't surprise me.
But like, yeah,
I can't think of it.
you can make this boy absolutely annoying to knock out. I will say, for anybody who's newer to the game, when it says prevent all effects done to this Pokemon by attacks, damage is not an effect of an attack.
Correct.
They oftentimes will write that in the small print of like damage is not an effect, but it's not on the proxy that we're looking at. So just in case.
Mhm.
Um, the Charizard, the Mega Charizard X attack will certainly go through.
It will certainly go through and do at least 500 damage.
Yeah, I will say I'd be very scared if I was playing the Alakazam against this though, 'cause nothing I can do. I'm just cooked.
Sean, I will say if you want to pair with Rotom, Bronzong might be your choice. A nice stage 140 HP metal type Pokemon. Has two attacks. One is a single colorless triple draw where you draw 3 cards. Pretty nice
Good.
for, some draw, some setup, even though it's stage 1. But if you have 3 colorless energies, which could be ignition energy, you could do Tool Drop for 40 times. This attack does 40 damage for each Pokemon tool attached to all Pokemon in play. You don't have to discard the tools or anything like that. So, since your Rotoms can have 2 tools on them, you just get a Bronzong in there, you put like 10 tools on the field, and you slap for 400 damage.
I mean, that's pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie.
Pretty fun, probably bad, but pretty fun.
It's an interesting strategy. I will say, as also an enjoyer of Revavroom, Revavroom is still in the format, and the
Mm,
challenge with playing Revavroom EX was that it required 2 metal energy, and that's just really awkward to like attack with. So it always, in my mind, it always kind of needed an attacker that was easier to set up. And I think this Bronzong could be that attacker. Like you could play Reverie, play 2 EXs. That's 8 tools right there. That's 320 damage.
mhm.
I mean, it's a little awkward, but in theory, like you could do this. Multi-stage one lines like this can always be a little funky, but another thought for those out there who love to just play with a bunch of tools in their deck. Um, I guess looking at a few other cards here. Duraludon Archaludon is kind of interesting. I don't know if this Duraludon is any better or worse than the other options people have. Probably not better. But the Archaludon, I wanted to mention because if you like Archaludon EX, if you still like enjoy playing that deck, for 3 metal energy, you do coded attack 120. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon can't be damaged by attacks from your opponent's basic. So it's a basic wall.
It's a
Um,
raging bolt killer.
that's right. So, like, if you are an Archaludon EX enjoyer, this might be a cool one of in the deck. Jake, what in the colorless world is catching your eye?
Nothing really.
Nothing?
Well, no, 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 okay. I won't say that
I
exactly.
mean, maybe.
Um, I think it's just Mega Lopunny EX. I mean,
Yeah.
I will say like this is okay. I'll say the final Pokemon that is. Stage 1 Mega Lopunny EX 330 HP normal type Pokemon stage 1. I think we talked about this a little bit before, so but I'll refresh you all. Has a 1 energy Gale Thrust colorless attack for 60 plus. If this Pokemon was on the bench this turn, this attack does 170 more damage. So 1 energy for 230. And then has a 2 colorless energy Spike Hopper attack for 160 damage. Isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So it's basically 160 damage shred
Yeah.
attack. So pretty solid, I feel like. Gale Thrust, even though 230 damage is scary, right? Especially for 1 energy. It's not incredible when your Pokemon have like 500 HP in the megas,
Yeah.
right? So, and only 330 HP, a lot of people feel like that output just isn't enough in the upcoming format. And I kind of agree.
Yeah, 330, especially since you're not playing it as a basic, you don't have access to the lively stadiums or the bravery charms. There is a rigid band that I think reduces the damage you take by 30 or 40.
I think
Um,
so.
so like you can buff yourself a little bit, but
Mm.
weirdly being a basic, like a Mega Kangaskhan is actually better because you have more support. Just weird to me that like they're rewarding a big basic more than they are a stage one, but you know.
It
Uh,
is what it is.
I will say for all the people out there that love a Salvatore strategy that will never actually be meta viable or competitive, I think Megalopony is great for that.
That is true. You do get to evolve right away, and it's just a 1 energy attack, so
230
get swinging.
turn one going second. So long as you have a retreater into this, I'm just saying, GG's.
And you know what
Donk.
has free retreat? Budu.
There you go. So
A Budu Gale Thrust deck.
that I'm just saying it might be an option for people.
That is certainly something. But I feel like one of the things looking at this set is, and I don't know if it's just because there's way less cards in here, but I feel like I love doing the set reviews for these big sets because you find so many like cool Pokemon cards. I feel like this has a lack of cool Pokemon cards. You know, like some of the
Yeah,
wackier, funnier combos that aren't actually like that good, but like, can be really fun if you like to just play something funky.
I think that weirdly, grass got almost all the really cool, funky stuff. Because I personally like the idea of a gloom spread deck or a low kicks hit and run deck. Like those are weird. They're not going to be great,
Yeah,
but they're definitely strange. But yeah, everything else just kind of feels, I don't know, like it's bad or it's good because like they only had to make 5 good cards in the set for
yeah.
competitive viability and that's it. So,
Anyways, there are trainer cards in this set. There's a weird one to start off, Jumbo Ice Cream. Heal 80 damage from your active Pokemon that has 3 or more energy attached. So it's gotta be a Pokemon that has 3 or more energy attached.
Mega
Uh
Kangaskhan.
Mega Kangaskhan, yes. Actually, that might not be that bad. Uh, Mega Kangaskhan, but either way, you got Heat Burner in here. You may discard 1 basic fire energy from your hand in order to play this card. Choose a tool, special energy, or stadium card your opponent has in play and discard it, right? Pretty easy if you're running a fire deck like Charizard.
Yep. I think this is like a super easy include as maybe a one of, like you said, in a Charizard deck because it's just strong, right? It's a better lost vacuum in a
Mhm.
fire deck. Like, yeah, you might as well run one. Sacred Charm, another Pokemon tool card. The Pokemon this card attacks you takes 30 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon that have any abilities. Kind of fun, kind of interesting, very situational. So I think this one will maybe struggle to find a home comparatively
Yeah.
because like, some of the mega Pokemon that we have coming out, a lot of them don't have abilities, right? Like Lopunny, Sharpedo, Charizard doesn't have an ability. So like weirdly the Pokemon that they are focused on just don't have abilities right now and 30 less
I
damage isn't.
also Yeah, I feel like 30 is not a significant enough number. It used to be a much more significant number, right? Back when we first started playing, but I think in this time, like, the 30 is not as relevant as it could be, although I haven't, like, crunched any of the numbers or anything like that, like testing or something, but, it could be something that you see as a tech card, especially if Arvins still stick around in decks.
Uh, Next one we talked about a while back, and I want to bring it up
Yeah.
again. Grimsley's move. You look at the top. This is a supporter. You look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Choose a dark Pokemon you find there and put it onto your bench. Shuffle the other cards and put them onto the bottom of your deck. And you can't play this card on your first turn.
So you can't play going second.
So I don't know if that
What's
was in
even
the
the
original
point?
translation, but like what's cool, yeah, you can't play it immediately, but I think it is cool that in theory, you can oh my gosh, my cats. You can
We're
play it
having
in such
fun.
a way that like if you really need to find your Mega Gengar, um, I think it's really gonna be best for like stage twos in particular. And like
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of stage two Pokemon that are dark
Just
type.
think of the old, like, Tatsugiri deck, the
Right. Like
Tatsugiri EX deck.
I'm trying to think like stage two Pokemon that are dark type that I don't want to manually evolve. So like Charizard, I want to evolve from hand, right?
Hydra
Like
Hydreigon?
Hydreigon is a good example, actually. I think
Hydreigon.
Hydreigon is a really interesting. This could be a really interesting card in that kind of deck. It requires a lot of energy, so you're like, but you know, maybe. Uh, but I really think this card is going to live or die currently based on the viability of Mega Gengar.
Yeah.
Because if you can set it up consistently, if you can find a way to do that consistently, then all of a sudden you don't have to run the whole Gengar line, the whole Gengar package. So,
You have to do this with Academy at night, I think, because I think
mm.
as soon as you whiff with Grimsley's move or not get the
So
Pokemon that you want, you have lost the game. Like, you have to hit whatever your wacky combo is, like Mega Gengar or something. You have to hit that every time. In or especially now with this, can't play it on your first turn clause.
yeah,
It's a bad card in my opinion, but
fair.
it yeah, you have to do it when it works.
Jake, what are the next two supporters on the list?
We've talked about Fire Breather before, so I'll go that through that pretty quickly. Search your deck for up to 7 basic fire energy cards, put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. We've talked about it. This is a Charizard fiasco with Oricorio, right? Because you get 7 basic energies. What is that? That is 630 damage that you can do after applying them with Oricorio, because you can do that as many times as you want in a turn.
Does
So
Cerulege love
that's
this card?
well, Cerulege wants to trash them all,
Yeah, you put
right?
him
Because
into
you
your
have to have
hand.
the energies in the trash. Yeah, you put the
Oh,
energies in your hand, but then you gotta get them back in the trash. Now, if you had a lot of Ultra Balls, superior energy retrieval or something, or, earthen vessels, a lot of stuff to trash things from your hand, absolutely. Fire breather. They may even do like a tech option of fire breather, because if you pair it up with something like Squawkabilly, right, to start out in the game, you can get those 7 energies out, Squawkabilly for a fresh 6, and boom, you're set up for 140 damage at least just from that alone. But I just don't know if it's better than where all the Cerulages went with the Soul Rock Lunatone combo, right? Because they moved
yeah.
into mostly fighting energy. So it feels like you have to choose whether you want the Soul Rock Lunatone route or the Fire Breather route.
Jake, is this another pivot for Goldengo?
Mm,
350
we talked
damage
we I think we talked about this
when it was
when it
announced.
was first revealed. I don't know, because once again, I don't know if I can justify it more than Soul Rock Lunatone, right? Uh, and I don't know if I can do. Yeah, I just don't know, because like you don't get any consistency out of this. That's the
No,
thing.
you
Like with,
do. It,
I mean, you get the energies, but you got to set up your Pokemon,
it,
right? And that's your supporter for turn.
but
So it's like,
I think about this. It's a terrible supporter turn one, going second,
yeah,
because you're right. You need to set up, but I think about it from the perspective of like, okay, well, if it's my second turn, Genesect EX is going to find me my Goldengos, right? That's fine. I don't even need to
yeah,
play Ultra Balls in theory. This. is just I'm going to put 350 damage straight up into my hand. Let's assume I have a Goldengo or more. That's 7 cards less in my deck plus a draw 2. That's effectively 9 cards in my hand, 7 of which are a lot of the energy I need to do a big attack. And then all of a sudden now, if you're Goldengo, you're like, and now I can play the new item card that lets me discard stuff if I want. I don't know. It may not be good because to your point, it is your supporter for turn.
Yeah.
But
I just think that there's not enough value, right? Like you have to have ultra consistency in the deck, and I don't think it gets you the ultra consistency, right? Like I'd rather just play Energy Search Pro
Mhm.
in that sense, I feel like. I will say most of the Goldengos that I'm seeing on the Japan City Leagues are just playing Soul Rock Lunatone, not Fire Breather. And the unfortunately the Cerulege decks that I've seen
Are
are
very
also
good.
not playing Fire Breather.
Oh
They're
yeah,
also not
okay.
playing Fire Breather. So Fire Breather, I think just Fire Breather
It's
having
Charizard.
that as a supporter, like, is just it's so tough.
Yeah.
Because I think your supporter needs to be something like Dawn, right? Dawn is a supporter card. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon, a stage 1 evolution, and a stage 2 evolution. Reveal them, put them in your hand, then shuffle your deck. I think it just needs to be a consistency card like this. Now I don't know if Hilda is better than Dawn, or something, but I think that it's really neat that in grass decks you can
Yes.
grab Dawn if you have the stadium and just evolve straight away into your stage 2 with only one supporter, which is really, really nice. Definitely going to help with the consistency in like a Meganium deck, right? Because you can get your Meganium online literally ASAP.
Yeah. I think this is definitely going to be an all-star in grass decks. I think that is this just an auto include in is it an auto include in like almost all GLC decks that play stage 2s?
That's a good point. Like this could be like a really good GLC card. Um, because you don't have to find the evolutions that are one ofs. You don't have to find rare candy, right? Especially if you're item locked. Because I know there's some item lock in
Mhm.
GLC, not a lot, right? Because really only one deck can play Badu. Um,
And the nice thing
but
about
yeah,
this is it doesn't specify that they have to be of the same evolution line.
that is also true, especially in GLC where a lot of times you're evolving the same Pokemon. You can get a basic Pokemon to set up your bench. You can get a stage 1 on your Inkay that's already on the bench, right? To make an Malamar to get your energy going. You can get a stage 2 for
Gardevoir.
yeah, Gardevoir, Alakazam, right? Do you
Yeah.
play Alakazam in GLC?
No.
Probably not. No.
No. I
But
mean,
that's very, very cool.
it's cool, but like you'll never have
Yeah.
enough cards and between Iono and N, oof. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think Dawn really shines probably in GLC just because of its flexibility with all the evolutions that you're trying to do.
So this is your call right now. This is a good pickup if you want to get the alternate art version, the full art version of Dawn for your GLC deck. Get it before
Yeah.
it's $1 million.
Something that you should also get is the Mega Diancie EX starter deck. So last couple cards that we'll talk about in here, talk about Mega Diancie EX. I see this a lot in Gardevoir decks once this comes out. So if you're a Gardevoir player, you're looking to play Gardevoir in Vegas or something like that, definitely look at this Mega Diancie EX. I think it's legal for actually no,
No.
Phantasmal Flames will not be legal. Never mind. Don't pick it up for your deck because then you'll get DQ'd. But anyways, post that, when it does become legal, Mega Diancie EX, a basic 270 HP Psychic Mega Pokemon, so worth 3 prizes, has the ability Diamond Coat, takes 30 less damage from attacks, and a 2 Psychic Energy Garland Ray attack does 120 times. Discard 2 energy from this Pokemon, does 120 damage for each energy discarded in this way. I think it's more of a tech option, if anything, um, to try to take bigger knockouts or specific math kind of knockouts.
240 is really good. You don't
Yeah.
usually want actually the discarding of the energy is a benefit to you because
Yes.
you don't like the energy being stuck on the board. If you get bossed around, you can reuse it, get more monkey damage on board.
Mhm.
240 plus maybe 2 monkeys. That's what is that? 300 damage that you can
Yeah.
get with this attack, which is really good. And you're basically 300 HP when it's like got no damage counters on it. If you wanted, you could even throw a bravery charm in the deck to make it a 350 HP. And I also think this is a really good target for something like Turo. Is
Yeah.
if your opponent can't immediately knock it out, just pick that bad boy up. Like three
It
prizes in a Gardevoir deck is actually really awkward. Like you don't Gardevoir thrives on like sending up a bunch of single prizers, but this might be the first like mega that's really worth it for Gardevoir.
Yeah, exactly. It's way better
In
than the,
Gardevoir.
Mega Gardevoir. Yeah, it's better than the Mega Gardevoir, and the couple lists that I'm looking at from the Japan Championships, they're all playing a one of Mega Diancie EX.
I also wanted to mention there's a few more trainer cards, but in the Diancie starter deck, we have Wonder Patch. So if you didn't think that Psychic had enough support, Wonder Patch is an item that just says attach a basic Psychic from your discard pile to one of your bench Psychic Pokemon. You know, in case you were doing the regular Gardevoir thing, but you don't have a Gardevoir yet, so you can attack with Lily's Clefairy.
Yeah,
It's fine.
the best way that I see this is, like, if you don't have Gardevoir online, because every Gardevoir player has had those games where you just whiff Gardevoir EX. But you have the energies in the discard pile ready to go for when you have Gardevoir EX. This just feels like one of those safe things to where you can, like, attack with Mega Diancie or Lily's Clefairy to be able to, like, either put some impactful damage or a knockout on the board.
Yeah. I don't know if you play more than maybe one or two of these in your
I
deck.
I don't know if you really need to play any in Gardevoir.
Maybe not. It's a I will say this would be a fun I think it's an interesting tech card if you happen to be I don't know. It's a little awkward, but like there's a world in which I could see this card seeing play as like a one or a two of because it really is annoying for your opponent when they are expecting you to take a whole turn extra to get into the Gardevoir. And then all of a sudden, turn one, you're not Badooing, you're not TM Evoing, you're attacking with the Elise Clefairy, you're attacking with Mega Diancie. And I think
Mhm.
that sort of pace is not something people expect at all from Gardevoir. And I do think that early in the format, you could catch a lot of players off guard with a more aggro version of Gardevoir.
Thank goodness it specifically says attaching a psychic energy, because if it said any basic energy, you'd probably slam 4 of this for
Jeez,
to
in
get
every
your
deck.
energies on Monkey Dory. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
Monkey Dory would love this card.
There's two more stadiums that we can talk about. The first one, Jake, is the one that I think everyone in the world is theoretically excited for. Battle Coliseum. This is the anti Monkey Dory sort of
Yes.
card. I say sort of. Prevent all damage counters being placed on bench Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's, by the effects of attacks or abilities used by the opponent's Pokemon. So it doesn't prevent damage being placed onto your bench Pokemon, importantly. Uh, well, actually, this
No,
is interesting. It
it
says,
does. It prevents damage counters from being placed on bench Pokemon, so it's both you and your bench cannot be added by damage, but it comes from an effect of an attack or an ability used by any of your opponent's Pokemon, whether they're in the active or the bench.
well,
So it's just like it's a bench protection effect.
yes. Yeah. I was thinking about this, though, and I was like, because it's by the effects of the attacks or ability. So it obviously stops you trying to play, it stops you trying to place counters from Monkey Dory onto a benched Pokemon. So you can't get like cheeky
Correct.
little
Yes.
snipes. Um,
Yes.
the reason I was looking at that though is what's interesting. It says by the opponent's Pokemon, which is a really weird phrasing
Yeah.
because does this card remember who played the card?
Yes, it does.
So
It should.
if I play this card and I'm playing against Gardevoir, do they not place damage
Or
counters onto their
wait,
bench
actually, maybe what it is it constantly switches.
based on who the active player is?
Yeah, based on who the active player is that is using. Because the first thing that I thought of on here is like, does this start Gardevoir EX Screamtail? Like, if it's on the bench, because like you
You can't
can't
put
do it.
damage counters on your
Yeah,
own
you can't put
Pokemon
damage
theoretically.
counters on it. Um, So that would be a way for, like, that to still exist with Battle Coliseum in play if it constantly kind of, like, switched ownership. Because no matter what, right, even if it's not your original stadium, you can't replace a Battle Coliseum with a Battle Coliseum, right? The game
True.
doesn't care, who originally owned that card at that point.
So I
And you
think
can
it's
on
I was gonna say, I
I
think
think
to
it
your point, it's
alternates.
the active player is what the reference
Yeah.
point is. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that would be my assumption. So you're kind of just doing the same thing to each other, but you're probably one of you is probably playing it because you don't care about the effect as much as your opponent does.
Yeah. What's also interesting about Battle Coliseum, is I wonder if this is better. It's different, but is it better than Psyduck?
Um, well, wait, prevent all damage counters being placed on bench Pokemon by the effects of attacks or abilities used by the opponent's Pokemon. Oh yeah, well, yeah, it would stop Dusknoir, wouldn't it?
It stops Dusknoir only on your bench. It doesn't stop Dusknoir to your active. So Psyduck
Yes,
is
yes,
better for
correct.
that. But it
Yeah.
doesn't take up a bench space. So it's like I think that's an interesting one of like, are you okay giving up prizes if the net result is they just knock out the active? Are you okay with them doing that and getting an extra bench space that you don't have to give to Psyduck?
I feel like in a lot of situations, especially how the format has played out, Dragapult is on a huge decline.
Yeah.
In the format, Dragapult, Dusknoir. So I think honestly, I don't know. I feel like probably the Psyduck is better because like a lot of decks have stadiums that they love. That are if they're playing Psyduck, they have stadiums that they love, like
Mm,
Artisan or something like
it's
that.
true.
So they don't want to take up their stadium spot, they would rather take up a bench spot because, you could just not play the Pokemon at all. And you could say the same thing for the stadium, but like, I don't know. I feel like the potential bench spot is less damaging when you don't need it than the stadium. I don't know.
I
That's a
feel
weird
like
question.
this stadium is gonna be heavily played because so many decks are playing Monkey Dory.
Oh, yes, I think this is gonna see a decent amount of play just because Monkey Dory exists. If you die to Monkey Dory decks, you play this card for sure.
I mean, this is so weird though, because if you are a Monkey Dory deck, you're not gonna play this stadium. But
Which is a
every
lot of
deck is
decks,
a Monkey
actually.
Dory. So that's
Yeah.
what I'm like, I don't know. Are we all just gonna agree to keep playing Monkey Dory and not play the stadium?
We're
Or
all just gonna handshake heading into a tournament and say,
right.
"Alright,
Jake, you can
here's
do
the
the
deal."
last do the last stadium. I'm done talking about this one.
If you remember the, Mismagius, if you're running a Mismagius EX deck, you might wanna play Vertigo Valley. The stadium says, "Confused Pokemon, both yours and your opponents, don't recover from confusion when they evolve or devolve." 2 things here. 1, I didn't realize that you lose a status condition when you devolve until I read this card,
Oh, devolve.
which
Yeah,
I
I never
think
thought about that. Yeah.
yeah, I guess I assume that you recover from status conditions when you devolve, so that's kinda cool. Learn something new every day. Um, but also, I like this. I think it's funny.
Yeah. It's a cool card.
Even though this is simply countered by your opponent just playing a stadium before they evolve, uh, funny card.
I guess if you are playing a deck that wants to both confuse and TM Devo, this is great.
Yeah.
Very specific, but great in that
This
circumstance.
probably this probably works out if you, like, somehow turn, like, Miss Magius or something into a control deck,
Hmm.
like a hand control kind of thing where, like, you minimize the amount of cards in hand so this always stays on the field.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you can run your opponent out of like stadiums too. If you run like four of these, odds
Mhm.
are your opponent's not running four stadiums.
Yeah.
Last card is Punk Helmet from the Gengar deck, but it will be in our set. No, it'll be in the deck. Punk Helmet tool card. If the dark Pokemon this tool is attached to is in the active spot and damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, put 4 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. Just kind of neat. Kind of neat little
Yeah,
damage spread. We've seen similar things. There's like a Rocky Helmet, I think puts 3. I don't
yeah.
know if like it's technically better for a dark type deck, but like nobody really plays Rocky Helmet. So I'm like, is the extra damage counter, does it matter?
Eh,
Eh,
could be funny.
yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Um, but yeah, that is the entire set review. Jake, how you feeling about this baby set?
I mean, it's like what I said earlier, to where like the Pokemon are not as there are some cool things in here, but like it just doesn't feel as fun as some of the other sets that we've done. Like in talking about the combos that will never win a regional, but if you wanted to build a deck around it, you could have a functioning deck that has a lot of fun, right? Um, but who knows? Maybe there are some things in here that we're not thinking about, or definitely some GLC pieces in here as well. So it's not a bad set. I'm excited for the smaller set, right? Because the main reason why I don't open up Pokemon anymore in product, I just buy singles, is because there's just too much. There's too much stuff in there. Like I don't want bulk,
Mm,
for crazy days. I would rather just have a more centralized, focused one, and that's what this is going to bring.
I will say with the smaller set, that means like I'm looking at this set list too, Jake, and I'm just like, there are so few hits that you can actually get in the set. And
Hmm.
there may be a couple of extra random cards from like Japanese like City League things promos, but like broadly speaking, there's not a ton of hits in this, but the hit rate I assume is relatively stable.
Yeah,
So my fingers crossed hope is that it should be pretty easy to get these cards if people are opening the kits and the sets. The odds of you hitting a high like
like
a
a
1
Charizard.
star, a 2 star,
Oh,
yeah, like it should be fairly good because you don't there's not a lot of options to take up that slot in the deck. So um this is another one where like I think the prices of the set are going to be crazy just because
yeah.
a that's the Pokemon market, and B, this is the Charizard set. So I think the prices are already looking like they're going to be nuts. And if you're just looking to play the game, if you don't care about cracking packs, I think that I hope and I do believe that a lot of these cards are going to be pretty rock bottom given how small the set is.
Hmm. Would you like to know the prices on some of these products?
Uh, I'm going to give one guess for a.
Okay.
We don't have enhanced booster boxes, do we, this time? Or do we?
I don't think we do.
So
I think
just
it's
a
just
booster box.
regular booster boxes.
Okay. I'm going to go out on a limb thinking of the current market. Pre-release prices, $350 a box.
And also a week before pre-releases.
Yeah.
That's another thing to note.
We'll go pre-sale 350 a box for Phantasmal Flames.
322. Pretty close.
So it's a deal. It's a
322
bargain.
USD. No, it's not a bargain. Single packs, just not sleeved boosters, but regular boosters, $17 per pack. Sleeved boosters are $21 per pack. The Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box,
That's money.
$580.
Oh my god. We are living in the worst timeline. This is
Shout out to
crazy.
me. I got 2 of those.
Yo,
And
Jake just bought
I'm
himself
gonna
a car.
yeah, I'm gonna get a car out of this. No,
Dang.
I'm giving one of them to my good buddy here in Vegas, and he's just gonna pay me what I paid for it.
Yeah.
So I'll lose out on some potential, but that's okay.
I will
Uh,
say
that's disgusting.
all the people who are going to your locals, if they are A, try to get to your pre-releases because the set's going to be a little crazy to open. But B,
Yeah.
if your locals is giving away Phantasmal Flames packs, after the set is released as part of your entry packs, just give them a big old hug because they
Yeah.
could be making a lot more money and they are choosing to prioritize the community and players because like it's it's tempting to try to make hay while the sun shines, so to speak. And but they're playing the long game. Thank them
Yeah,
for
I
that.
mean, I said a couple weeks ago, I sold my Destin Rivals booster box. I sold it for 300, sitting at 400 right now
Dang.
in just a couple weeks.
Well, Jake, that's why we buy
Well,
singles.
yeah. I still need to get my Mega Evolution singles for the I play a lot more on
On
Pokemon
live.
TCG Live on my phone, just while I'm hanging
Yeah.
out doing whatever. Uh I don't have the cards for Gardevoir. I need the Ralts, I need the Curlia, I need the Lilies. I still need all those things, but I'll have them. I'm
Yeah.
sure of it.
Somebody at your locals that is a fiend and cracks a lot of packs has some extras.
Yeah, somebody's got it.
Yeah. But hope y'all enjoyed that set. I think this set is very small, but I think that it will have some very impactful cards. Because we thought Mega Evolution initially was not really a huge deal. Turns out Mega Kangaskhan and Absol, pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Who would have known? Tord, that's who would have known. But
Yeah.
I do think that this set will have a couple of really strong archetypes, and some cool cards in it. But it's just such a small set. It's just those things, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be a fun one. I'm excited for it and hope you guys are too. Thanks so much for listening to the Metapod podcast. And again, if you want to join the official Metapod NBA Fantasy League, link is in the description below. And again, let me know whether it's on the YouTube comments, in the Discord, on Twitter, anywhere that you see me or something. If it's full, then I'll open up more spots for you all. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.